Peter Obi and Asiwaju Tinubu are the two candidates people are talking about the most. Babajide Kolade. He is a technocrat and political analyst who hails from Nigeria. He stated that the two presidential candidates that people are talking about the most in relation to the upcoming elections in 2023 are Peter Obi, presidential candidate of the Labour Party, and Tinubu, the presidential candidate of the APC. Both of these men are running on the APC ticket. In his presentation, which was captured on video, Babajide mentioned that the PDP is looking into ways to prevent Peter Obi and Tinubu from running for president in 2023 because they are the most significant factors in the election. During the course of the interview, Babajide was discussing the recent rumor that the PDP is planning to sue Peter Obi and Tinubu in order to force them to keep serving as their placeholder running mates. According to him, the PDP does not have the same level of visibility on social media and in traditional media as Bola Tinubu and Peter Obi do. This is the assessment made by Babajide. You should keep in mind that Atiku Abubakar is a candidate for the president on the ticket, but put forward by the People's Democratic Party. I think in some sense he's kind of right, but obviously I think a tactic that the PDP could have just played perfectly would obviously be the emergence of APC. And I mean, look at Reno Mokri, even before the elections, they've always been highlighting the difference with the PDP and APC, and members of the PDP coming out even during just chaotic times during this whole tenor. They'd come out and say, look, when we were in party, or when we were the ruling party, you were not facing all these. And I think Peter Obi, whatever party, I think every other party can easily form a strategic defense to put APC down, because APC, you would think, is not a strong contender given how they've performed in the last 7 years. So the problem is, it's the expectation that Tinubu, Atiku would play that card, right, and play to his advantage. Of course, Peter Obi is doing the same thing in a more respectful manner, in a more, strategic manner. But Atiku, in the heat of conversations, he went to Dubai. And I really don't understand. There are times where, obviously, the conversation was very much intense about PDP, Peter Obi and Tinubu. This was when things were really building up. You can really say social media at that time was on another level. And the conversation just kept bouncing back from Peter Obi and Tinubu. Tinubu also traveled to France, and still he was in the conversation. I guess some politicians did go visit him in France, and we saw pictures there. So with Atiku, there is really not an excuse just because you went to Dubai. He sort of alienated himself out of the conversation, because then everyone's impression was like, look at this one, he doesn't even care, he's in Dubai living his life. Whatever he went there to do, we do not know. But again, it's not an excuse. During the times of his opposition, those candidates, even Peter Obi, he went to Egypt at some point. He wasn't in the country at some point, but he was still active in the conversation. So that Atiku, I do not know why his case is different. But again, they seem to be very, very relaxed. Look at what they've done in Osun State. They won. So I guess maybe it's working for them, because again, you might fault somebody's methods, but when we see the results, you're like, okay, well, I can't fault what the fact is that you've won. Well, Osun State just proved that. So, but just going back to not just the party, but the candidates so far, I think Atiku just alienated himself from the conversation. good or bad, he just did not get involved. And everyone just thought, well, you're in Dubai, you're living your life. Well, doesn't seem like this means a lot to you. So I don't know how Atiku can insert himself back into the conversation. He's gonna have to do something. I mean, obviously, he can use the Osun State elections. He can just insert himself. I mean, just talk. It's as simple as that. But I think, why we're also talking with Tinubu, and obviously why he's also relevant to the conversation, is just the amount of work and drilling that Peter Obi is going through. I mean, he's out here granting interviews left, right, center, actually allowing people to get to know him. But the other two are not doing the same thing. So because of what we've also seen Peter Obi do, we are just constantly drawing comparisons, especially with Tinubu, and obviously his confidence as to what he wants to achieve and how he wants to win. So then, because I think the most talked about is Peter Obi, and because Peter Obi is the new face, the fresh energy, he will just be constantly compared to everyone else. And the other two big candidates is just Tinubu and Atiku. And because of Peter Obi, really, is why we are talking about any of them. If Tinubu wasn't really there, if Peter Obi wasn't there, we would still be talking about them. But I bet Atiku would then be more active. Because then who would he have to talk to or reply to or compete with? It is the APC. So it is as simple as that. Babajide, we don't think Tinubu will make it with Muslim ticket, obedient all the way. Nobody talks about Tinubu. Stop telling lies. It is now or never. Nigeria must work again with obedient. Tinubu has shot himself just to be obedient. Yes, you are right. But the reality is that even in their popularity in the media is on two divides. One is talked upwards side, while the other is on demeaning and downwards. Again, it's most of the opinions are support for Peter Obi, and just the lack of faith that there is on Tinubu's case. However, I still think, somebody said that Tinubu shot himself. I still think, again, Tinubu is a strategist. As much as you may not agree with the options or what he has taken, I don't think we should just rule out the fact that decision must have been calculated. So I think what we should not do is try to undermine the effect of his decision. Even though it may look outwardly to be ineffective, we would only see how effective or ineffective it is when it's time to vote. Simple. Put what you think in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.